is going on this morning? It's some Magic the Gathering news here. Find some articles. Murders at Karlov Manor. What's going on in the world today? What's going on in the world today? It's got everything you need. Welcome to the show. Again, it's Wednesday, January the 17th. That's right, the 17th here this morning. What do you call a pig that does karate? A pork chop. And why did the bicycle need a little rest? Because he was too tired. Good morning, Twiddler, my friend over at the stream. If you know what I mean, it's here, the morning show. Don't fear. We pushed her back a little later this morning. Just to give all the early risers a shot at getting in to the stream today. This one goes out to Mr. Michael Superbacker. If you're out there and you're watching and you're in the middle of Boston, give me a comment in the comment section. It's good to see you folks wherever you are in the world. I want you to know that we are here to discuss the prices of Magic cards. If you are a Magic the Gathering player who likes to make purchases online, make sure you give it a try to tune in and check us out on the morning show where we're looking at card prices. Do you like tracking the prices of Magic cards? Is there enough information out there, or is there just too much information? Let me do it for you. I'm doing it here on the morning show with the friends of the channel, weekdays or early morning. That's right. The most splendid way to start your day wherever you go. It's the working man or the working man, Brody Alfonso, with a little bit of Magic the Gathering talks and some Magic the Gathering stocks. We're going to discuss card prices, a couple of articles here this morning, and get you on your way to start your day here on the right foot. I'm wishing you all a pleasant one, and I hope the day treats you well. What's new in the world of Magic the Gathering? Well, we're going to discuss it. Spoiler alert. Spoilers are out. Murders at Karlov Manor. There's some interesting cards being previewed at the moment, and some of them are pretty powerful. Very interesting tech coming out with the advent of the spoilers. We've got a goblin that makes mana. We've got a wolf that makes counters. We've got all kinds of stuff spoiled in the world of Magic the Gathering cards, and we're going to discuss it here on the morning show with you folks here today. But before we get into that, I like to do something that we warm up with here this morning. It's a cold winter's day, and I like to warm up just a little bit and say, let's review a couple of AI-generated Magic cards. I got a couple of funny ones. One that made me chuckle in particular. But for those of you watching who are just tuning in, I'm going to go over the rules with you folks here really quickly. Twiddler says, just got to work. It's freaking 26 degrees in Florida, so how's LCI EV looking now that the dust has settled? The expected value of LCI. I'm missing, what's the LCI? You might have to spell it out in long form. Expected value of LCI. LMK, let me know what is LCI. I'm just drawing a blank here this morning. While we do that, let's take a look at some of these AI-generated Magic cards to see what the AI is coming up with. We have a great story for you today, bro. So let's go over the rules real quickly for you. If the card is playable any way whatsoever, if it makes sense, if it's good on paper, if there's no gibberish on there, we're a little bit overcosted, but it's functional. Neek, we're going to hear this sound. The dinging. That's right. But if the card has got any gibberish on it whatsoever and it doesn't make any sense, it's got some flabbity flu flab on there this morning, we're gonna fail it. You're gonna hear this sound, the sound of the buzzing. cousin. Let's take a look here this morning over at Rosawada Stone. What do we got here? It's a lemur. Is it? Good one. This is a good one. Of course it is. You know why it's a good one? Because it's called a good one. This sucker is a 0-4 good one. I love the flavor text on it. Or the creature type is great story, bro. Yes, that's right. A little later on in today's show, we're going to have a great story for you folks here tuning in at home or whether you're at work, no matter where you are. You got Brody next to you on the dash of the car. Maybe you got me in your back pocket or next to the coffee pot. Wherever you may be, thank you for joining me here this morning. This is a good one. 0-4. Great story, bro. Low LCI. EV. Lost Caverns of Ixalan. Now that the dust has settled. I don't know why I didn't put that together. How is the Lost Cavern of Ixalan EV looking now the dust has settled? Well, we could look into that here together this morning, Twid. I'm not too sure. Myself, I'm buying singles. I am. I'm buying singles out of that set. I like the Echoing Deeps and I like Spelunking. Those are the two cards that I like out of the set so far. Yes, one rare that's cost you $1.50 and an uncommon that costs you about $1. If you're getting it in foil, it'll cost you $2.29. So I'm just sort of waiting for copies of that to show up in the mail. I'm buying singles. I'm not cracking boxes. I'm not cracking packs. What is the box price? We could look that up. What is the box price of Lost Caverns? Kill 3 people. Commander game over, right? All right. This 0-4 is a good one. It's a black and 2. It says, community, kill 3 people. Each time you attack, you get rid of another creature. If the creatures you control have XX power to the end. Your animal sacrifice has X energy. You are lucky. I mean, I got to fail this card. I do. Just on principle. We're going to fail it because, well, it's got gibberish on it, but it's just so darn cute, though. I know. This thing is a commander boardway for players. It just gets rid of everybody at the table. Why not? All right, let's take a look at this next one here. Some of the flippity flab with these cards is hilarious. El Ceratus or El Ceratus Prophecy? El Ceratus Prophecy. This is like a bit of a gangster card, right? Got the hooded wizard on there. The sorcery costs you a red and 1. Choose a card name. Then add 2 mana of any one color. Only you be starting the game. You may put this card on the bottom of your library. So it adds 2 mana of any one color. It's sort of like Mana Morphos, but worse. You gotta fail this card. But I like this part. Only you be starting the game. All right, only you be voting on this card here. What do you think? Is this fair? OP, underpowered, non-functional? We're going to give it a non-functional. Very unfunctional. Oh, well, this card. This is Azorius card. This is Enchant. The Enchantment card. For blue and 1 white. It's got Bending. Bending has got to be a new ability, right? You may discard this card. Exile this card from your graveyard by discarding a card in addition to paying its other costs. Bending. That's all it is. It's an enchantment with bending. You can discard it from your graveyard by discarding a card in addition to paying its other costs. That's pretty bad. We're starting off on a low note here this morning for this AI-generated Desgaga Shakes. All right, Desgaga Shakes out. There is no doubt. Why'd the Colfer bring his extra pants to the game? In case he got a hole in one. And why did the Clydesdale give the pony a glass of water? Because he was a little hoarse. All right. Of course, the policeman said to his belly button, "You're under a vest." And this card here is under investigation. What does it say? Shoddiness Calmer. Dwarf. Very shoddy looking dwarf here. Calmer than anyone else. Not a fan of just killing my opponents. It's like the combo deck that doesn't need any combo pieces other than that card, right? Shoddiness Calmer, creature dwarf 1/1. The strongest strike don't know will quill. His wings crumbled those hands. The flavor text could use a little work, I guess. When Shoddiness Calmer blocks or becomes blocked by a creature with flying, draw a card. Until end of turn, you may cast this spell during any turn. If you do, draw a card. Oh, golly. I think that's pretty neat, though. If it becomes blocked by a creature with flying, you get something. I don't think that's been done before. It's just that the last part of the card is a little jibbery jabbery. Until end of turn, you may cast this spell during any turn. If you do draw a card, just get it out of here. Let's rate this one. Non-functional junk tax. How about this baby here? Wandering Lumber. I think we saw this one yesterday. This is pretty much where we left off. So let's take a look at it. Wandering Lumber is a 1/1 for a double Selesny and a blue. Let's see here. Legendary creature Yodis Wizard. Yodis Wizard. Do you know this wizard? Of course not. This is not the wizard you're looking for. This sucker says when you attack, all creatures you control become the color of your choice until end of turn. That doesn't seem too bad. And if a player's got... Yeah, if you got something on the board that's got protection from a certain color, maybe that'll get you by. At the beginning of your draw step, each player draws a card, and whenever a non-token creature with flying enters the battlefield under your control, create a 5/5 red dragon token creature with flying. I think this thing checks out. Seems okay. What are we going to rate it? Fair. It's fair. 56% of folks say this is a fair Magic card. Fair to say this card is not too pretty bad. Not a fan of killing my opponent just with one card. All right. Who is, right? Combo. It's almost like a Thassa's Oracle, right? Just play that Thassa's Oracle, demonic console, win the game. Snap. The stock show. You like trading? Do you like tracking the prices of Magic cards? Do you trade Magic cards? Do you buy Magic cards? Do you like to speculate? I do. I like to speculate. Lost Caverns of Ixalan. We got spoilers coming out, and this is the time of year that I find very interesting. In the next days to come, it's very likely that we're going to see some cards spiking in the world of Magic the Gathering from previous sets due to the fact that spoilers are now out from the Murders at Karlov Manor set. There's going to be people putting together some of these spoiler cards with synergy for other cards in the game. Kind of interesting to see what's going to happen there. So I want to just take a minute to look at some of these spoilers that have come up. There's some pretty good ones. And I mean, you don't need an AI just to get it. How about this one? Let's take a look at this interesting card. This is a card that's going to make some headlines. I'm sure if it hasn't done so already, let's have a look. No, it's not AI generated. It's just friend generated. This one here, definitely making waves in Commander. We got Voya, the Jaws of the Conclave. This card I saw yesterday, it's definitely going to be used in Elf and Wolf Tribal. I really want to make a Wolf deck, and this is Naya. This is a Naya Wolf. I think this Voyageurs of the Conclave is a very interesting card. It's like got Timmy written all over it. A 5/5, costs you Naya and 2, so a white, a green, a red, and 2 for this legendary creature Wolf. 5/5 power and toughness. It's got Vigi and Trample. Vigi, Trample, and Ward 3. The Ward 3 is definitely pseudo hexproof. It's very hard to get around. You got to pay 3 extra manas to target it. But look at the flavor text, or sorry, it's got no flavor text, but look at the text box of this card. It's got plenty of text on it for this 5/5 for 5 mana. This is what you get for 5 mana these days. Vigilance, Trampler Ward, 5/5. Whenever Jaws of the Conclave attacks, put X +1/+1 counters on each creature you control. Each creature, where X is the number of elves you control. So this is badass, elves deck. So whenever it attacks, however many elves you got, that's how many +1/+1 counters you get on each creature, and then draw a card for each wolf you control. So this is getting some wolf synergy, right? The card draw in green, definitely a good upside for anybody who's playing creature, tribal, elf, wolf pairings. Maybe a Garuk deck that makes wolves and elves never had it so good. Now with this card here, definitely like it. What do you think about this baby here? I'm going to give it a recommendation here this morning.
Buy low, sell high, that's my motto. I may just quit my job at the power plant and become a full-time stock market guy.
Have I seen the new Massacre Girl from? Yes, I have. Let's take a look at it here. Let's see if we can find it. Morning, Kylan Perdon. Nice to see you here. Very cool. Massacre Girl, I did see it come across my feed, and a couple of other ones that were very interesting, especially the Gobbo that makes mana. So that one's definitely going to be OP, especially with a card like Dockside Extortionist and any cards that get you to sacrifice treasures. Even the food deck will get a boost from this. So if you're making artifacts, if you're making food, this is definitely going to be a decent card. Let's look at the new Massacre Girl. Let's try and find the good old-fashioned artifact creature that makes mana. War Leader's Call, Massacre Girl, and then this one here, the Crime Novelist. That's the one we're thinking of. Look at this card here, Kylan. Crime Novelist. What is this going to do in a... Yes, is this card busted in treasures? Definitely boosted. Me and Mattcaster were discussing this one yesterday. Crime Novelist? Look at this card. Already have some deck ideas with that one. You're excited for the new Massacre Girl? That's awesome. Oh, yeah, that's broken. Check this out. Crime Novelist, you get a 1/3 Gobbo Bard. So he's a singer, and it costs you a red and 2. Goblin Bard, whenever you sacrifice an artifact, put a +1/+1 counter on Crime Novelist and add red. What? It's insane. You stack a treasure, then you get 1 mana of any kind. It's 3 mana to cast, but that doesn't seem to be too bad. This has Burgi written all over it. Cast a spell with Burgi, you get a red. You stack treasure. This guy gives you an extra red, and he gets a buff. This is a double ramp in red. Yes, it's insane. This is going right into Jan Jansen, right? Tommy Siddons, how you doing this morning, bud? Doesn't this seem insane? I can't think but all the broken ways to use this card. Of course, Treasure is playing it. Even the food deck will get a little bit of a boost. Always looking for a threat on board, so this thing's just going to get bigger and bigger. Just peachy, right? I like it. Definitely an interesting card. What do you folks think? Where's this card going? It's hard to say how this is going to be used and abused. The foil version probably Going to be worth a couple of bucks. It's in the uncommon slot, and I love it when these uncommons get a boost. Like, look at Mayhem Devil. That's like a $20 foil uncommon. Hooded Hydra taking a spike today. I'll have to take a look at that on the movers and the shakers. Well, if you're getting hit by a bicycle on your way to work every day, you might be stuck in a vicious cycle. And what kind of music do the planets like to listen to? Neptunes. All right. A cow with two legs is called lean beef, and this card is lean enough to be good in a treasure deck. I like it. Why does a chicken coop only have two doors? Because if it had four doors, it'd be called a chicken sedan. And this is your hidden gems for the week. We're going to do some Magic the Gathering articles here. Let's take a look at what we've got printed over at the stock desk. Hooded Hydra, yes, taking a 41% uptake. Stalactite Stalker and Extended Art, and a few other ones taking some pokes. We're going to definitely see some action now with spoilers out. Cow with cow with no legs, ground beef. A cow with two legs, lean beef. Yes. All right. What do sea monsters eat? Fish and chips. Bear with no teeth is called a gummy bear. All right. Let's take a look at this news article with you folks today. We're doing puns here this morning. I never get enough puns. And those of you who know me, well, when you come to Magic the Gathering, you stay for the game and you come for the game and you stay for the spice. Love it. Hi, long time searching to complete showcase sets. I found Bramble Familiar cheap cast and impresses me. Bramble Familiar? All right, we got a new viewer, the Cardboard Splendor here this morning. Let's take a look. Let's take a look here. What do we got? What do we got? Bramble Familiar. Bramble. Sam. Familiar. What are we talking about here, Mr. Cardboard Splendor? This is the Splendorous one? Elemental Raccoon. I like it. Very nice. Very nice. You never get a good rocket deck, right? Get yourself what is his name? XBB8 or something like that. Rocket Raccoon, Bramble Familiar. This one's gone fetch quest. 7 mana to put this on an adventure. Mill 7 cards, put a creature enchantment or land card from among them milled cards into the battlefield for 7. This impresses you. Okay, for 2/2, you get a raccoon that taps for a green, and you can pay 1 and tap it to discard a card and return Bramble Familiar to owner's hand. Chump block stack, 7 mana Omniscience. Not too pretty bad. Reanimate something if you get it off the top. What's this worth? What's the price tag on this Bramble Familiar there, Mr. Cardboard Splendor? It's a splendid day. I'm glad you joined us. Nice to see you here. Always enjoy new viewers tuning in. If you give me a comment, we'll definitely be doing some discussion. Maybe I should be playing this with Slogert. Well, we got some hidden gems, and we're going to take a look at spoilers here this morning. Like I said earlier, there's definitely going to be some cards spiking in the world of Magic the Gathering now that we've got some spoilers to compare and look. Oh, yeah. Thanks for entertaining this crap card. You're awesome. That's all I do is entertain crap cards. When I'm not entertaining the crap cards that I like, I will definitely look at any of the crap cards that you like and have some discussion. If you got any favorites, if you love the game of Magic, if you like buying online, you like tracking prices, hey, here's a place to do it. We can do it together. Well, we've got an interesting article from Adam Berg All right, I'm going to give a shout out to Adam Berg. I even gave a shout out to the fellow. I love giving a shout out to the fellows at the Stock Desk over on the Twitter feed. They write some great articles. You got some new fresh blood over there at the Stock Desk. They're giving us some interesting articles. We had a nice one yesterday, and this one here from Adam Berg is no exception. Welcome to another edition of the Hidden Gems, where we're going to dive into some deep archives to unearth overlooked, underappreciated, and long-term forgotten treasures for Commander. Special honor guest, the Dragon, the Chunky Boy, is one of the most popular commanders of all time, and its top choice for the most popular creature dragoons. Naturally, there are 7 billion choices for the 99 in the card slots, but here are some recommendations that you should try out. We got the Dragoon, multiple printings. Let me just take a look. I think I buy listed this not too long ago. So I'm out of here. Splendor, nice to see. So what do we the Dragoon? It costs you a Wooburg. That's a white, a blue, a black, a red, and a green for this 10/10 Dragon Avatar. Great movie series, the Avatar. Eminence. As long as the Dragon is in the command zone or on the battlefield, another dragon spells you cast cost 1 less. Hey, Ed, has Brody mentioned why the hiatus? Flying 10/10, whenever one or more dragons you control attack, draw that many cards, then you may put a permanent card from your hand onto the battlefield. Why the hiatus over here? Who's got the hiatus? I'm hungry. Oh, yeah. Well, last year was a crazy year. I'll tell you, it was like the best year I ever had work wise. Like, you realize I am the working man for the working man. I get up and I do my part in the daily life just to get out there and move the economy, do my part, help people to work, do some things that make people's day just a little bit better. And all the while, I try to contain my composure. But sometimes the demands of real life just get on to a guy. And I had a couple of weeks there where I was doing like some 17, 18-hour shifts and I had to get in early. But this here, I'm telling you, this is the best part of my day. This is my favorite thing to do is get up and talk to you folks in the morning and discuss magic cards. I'd be looking at my phone all day otherwise, just being like, what's this doing? What's that doing? But if I get up and I do it with you folks here, it gets to be a little bit more fun and entertaining, and I get to join a community where for the last couple of years, it's just been about trying to reach people and make their life a little bit better, shine some light into the world, motivate people to get up and do the best that they can and enjoy the game and be kind to one another, trying to inspire myself and others. So that takes a lot out of a guy. I'm sorry to say, but every once in a while, you need to take a break. So back and refreshed and entertaining the special guests of this show while we discuss some of these changeling here for some of these interesting cards. Let's take a look together. Dragons tend to be more expensive, so the first obstacle of building a functional deck is trying to figure out the early game. There's plenty of ramp worth including, but also several small dragoons that can help flesh out this end of the curve. Realm Walker can give you card advantage. Torian Mauler can come out as an early turn 2 thanks to the Dragon Daddy and a scale up. Get it? As the game progresses, Mirror Entity can scare off threats and act as a way to pump up your team to end the game. And don't forget that Crib Swap. Never forget Crib Swap. What's the Crib Swap? I want to take a look at Adam Berg's recommendation. Crib Swap? Spooky card, right? 1 white and 2 Changeling. So these count as dragons. Changeling is very good. Very good. It's good because people play tribal that give lords and buffs like sliver decks. Changeling is very good against it. And I actually really would like to build a Changeling deck just because people playing pirates, people playing slivers, people playing tribal of any kind, the Changelings get the advantage. This one says counts as any it's an instant, counts as any This card is every creature type at all times. So it's a tribal instant. Remove target creature from the game. Its controller puts a 1/1 colorless shapeshifter creature into play with Changeling. It's just like a swords on an instant that counts as every creature type. So it gets a rebate with the Dragon. So now instead of costing 3, it only costs 2. Interesting. What else we got here? Realm Walker is the changeling that says when it enters the battlefield, you choose a creature type. You may look at the top card of your library anytime and cast creature spells with the chosen type from the top of your library. And Mirror Entity, this is one I'm more familiar with. The Shapeshifter 1/1. It costs 1 white and 2 X. Creatures you control become XX and gain all creature types until end of turn. So we're talking dragons, and we're talking the Dragon, and we're talking some hidden gems here for Commander. And anybody of you likes to play, any of you goons like to play Dragoons, this El Minister should be an include in your deck. Getting multiple dragons to stay on the battlefield is a difficult task, making it harder to trigger the Dragon's second ability. Only a few cards in the game create lots of dragons in one go, and the El Minister happens to be one of them. If you can hit a high mana value card, a bounty of little dragon fairies will be at your command. With your army of babies, you can dig deep for an mommy, and your opponents will know no greater fear. All right, well, the El Minister, let's refresh ourselves. What does the El Minister do? This guy runs for president, prime minister of the El Minister of Canada. Elminster, legendary Elminster Planeswalker, 5 loyalty Planeswalker. Whenever you scry, the next instant or sorcery spell you cast this turn costs X less to cast, where X is the number of cards looked at while scrying this way. +2, draw a card, then scry 2. And then exile the top card of your library. Create a number of 1/1 blue fairy dragon creature tokens with flying equal to that card's mana value. Ooh. Oh, and Elminster can be your commander. So he's commander eligible, right? He's the Minster, a group that would be called Lost Minsters. I love it. That's very well played. Yes, Los Minsters. I like it. Well, what's the price tag on the Minster? He's a couple of bucks. Is he $1? Is he $1.50? Whoa, they have gambling on boats. So I see that's a hard choice for Vegas. All right, let's take a look at Furkrag, the cunning instigator. Brody's instigating online all the time, either here on the stream or over on Twitter. You can catch me there. But at 4 mana, thanks to the Daddy, this little instigator can put some work together. That's right. It's the working dragon for the working man. If you get down early, it'll help you to control the board by making your opponents turn on each other. It'll grow and draw cards if left unchecked, and practically paying for itself and stalling the game until you finalize your mana base and can pay for bigger, skettier dragons. I want to take a look at this one. Furkrag, Cunning Instigator. This is a 3/3 for 5. All right. Flying Hasty Boy. Whenever one or more dragons you control attack an opponent, goad target creature that player controls. So that means it's got to attack and it can't attack you. Brody, will we get an email about reserve list pick? Let me think about that. Will we get an email about a reserve list pick? I still haven't picked one, but yes, I can do that. Whenever a creature deals combat damage to one of your opponents, if that creature had to attack this combat, you put a 1/1 counter on Furkrag, Cunning Instigator, and you draw a card. So this guy goads your opponent's creatures. You want an email with a reserve list pick from the patron? I can definitely put that together. Well, it's a new year, and it's interesting to see where things are going. So I'm gonna have to put some thought behind that. I don't have one. Like, if what kind of price point are you looking for? Cardboard Splendor. You looking for some bottom of the reserve list, top, or the middle of the reserve list? Everybody's got different budgets to work with, right? I like to work my way up from the bottom on the reserve list. You know this. And then I hopefully get up to the top of the reserve list at some point. Spit Flame. Let's spit this flame. It isn't the most glamorous pick, but removal can keep you alive in the early game. The key here is that this spell is repeatable. I say repeatable. I say repeatable. Repeatable. And card advantage is a girl's best friend. Once mana base is established, you might even be able to cast it multiple times in one turn by playing it and playing a dragon and returning it and casting it again. 4 damage can kill a lot of things, and 8 damage can kill almost everything. Affordable low to mid, but now 2 are affordable too. That's what people say when I rap. Ba-dum-bum. What's this do? Spit Flame. Tui. Spit Flame deals 4 damage to target creature. Whenever a dragon enters the battlefield under your control, you may pay red. If you do, return Spit Flame to your hand. Yeah, things are down right now. You want to know my top pick for the reserve list? And I'm very heavy into this card. My very top pick, the card that I think is going to go places at one point in time. There's 2 of them. Top picks for the expensive cards on the reserve list. Number 1, Candelabra of Tawnos. Why? Because it's colorless and it works with lands. Okay? That's a card that I'm very, very bullish on long term. Candelabra works in lands and it untaps stuff. The minute we get a land that's decent and worth untapping, like this is why I was so disappointed in the Brothers' War. And I mean, I love the Brothers' War. There's lots of really good cards in there, but I was expecting more from the Urza's Workshop, right? The Mishra's Workshop, that's worth untapping. Like that thing makes 3 mana. And then the Urza's Workshop, we just kind of got meh. I had really big hopes that the Urza's Workshop would be excellent and would work with the Candelabra of Tawnos because the flavor is just there, and I think they missed the boat. But we're gonna need a land that's just a little bit better than the average. Hey, boo. Hey, bro. We're gonna need a land that's a little bit better than your average land. Candelabra of Tawnos. That's a card that I'm extremely bullish on. Disclaimer: I have a couple copies of. And the other card that is also not so affordable, even in foil, the foil version of Memory Jar is very expensive. But you can still pick up a non-foil version for about $50. So the wheel effective Memory Jar. I think the downside of the 5 mana casting cost is going to be a thing of the past, considering there's all kinds of ways to make extra mana and get it into play. There was a time where 5 mana was just too overcosted, but in Commander, I think the Memory Jar is just fine. It's a wheel, it's colorless, it can go in any deck, it can be brought back from the graveyard with Goblin Welder, and it can do all kinds of things. It can draw lots of cards. All right. That's all for this week. Thanks Adam Berg for this hilarious article. It was really quite good. I enjoyed reading it. Thank you very much, Adam. I'm going to have to give you a shout out and a follow on X. This is good. I like your writing style because it makes me laugh. And there's lots of good jokes in there. So Adam, the fella who started playing Magic on his 14th birthday, wishes us all good luck. To the crazy kids watching the show here. And whenever you build a tribal deck, always look at changelings like Mistform Ultimus. The Misty Boy is every creature type. And when it may attack as though it weren't a wall. 4 mana, don't play him, just look at him. He walked so changelings could run. And we need to respect that. All right? I love it. That's a great article from Adam Berg. And remember, like I always say,
Buy low, sell high, that's my motto. I may just quit my job at the power plant and become a full-time stock market guy.
a really cool article from Adam Berg. I like the writing style simply because it makes me laugh and it brings a little bit of humor, a little bit of joke, a little bit of laughy laugh to the stream. I need that in the morning. Get your motor running. Get some sun. These days are so dark. We don't see it's dark 30 out there. It's the sun won't be up for another couple of hours. A really important thing to do if you want the tip of the day to make yourself feel better, get some photons. And I'm not talking about the car in from Star Trek. Photons into your eyeballs. Get those photons, stick them in your eyeballs. That's the place where you need photons in the morning. You gotta get some photons and not futons if you're sleeping on the couch. Photons. And where do you get those photons? You get them from the sun. So if you can, I try to spend at least a couple of minutes outside every single day and get some sunlight in my eyes. The earlier, the better. And there's chemical reasons for that. It's good to stimulate the brain. It increases brain activity. So I'm talking direct sunlight, no glass, no glasses, no filters in between. I know if you're in a building and you see the sun come up and you're like, oh, that's a beautiful sun, get out, open a window, get some sunshine in your eyeballs. It does wonders for your body and it changes some stuff inside your brain and it gets you actually out of that sleepy sleep mode and into the wakey wake mode. So that's what I look forward to every day when the sun comes up, to get myself some photons, and you can too. Alrighty. What do we want to do next? It's just about anything. We could do just about anything we want. It's hump day. It's the middle of the week. The world is our oyster. What should we look at? Should we look at some stock trading symbols? That's right. Yesterday we talked about the cup and handle pattern, right? Did you get a handle on that pattern? Did you? Yeah, we're not. Oh, speaking of cup and handle, let's get our cup of coffee going here. Extra hot coffee here this morning. Yes. That's good. All right, it's time for the movers and the shakers. So if you're not moving yet, you're not shaking, you're moving with your feet and you're shaking in your seat, you can do this with me here on the morning show. We're going to look at the Wednesday edition of the movers and shakers. This is something I check every single day when I get up. I always have for years and years. I can't help myself. I got to see what cards are changing prices in the world of Magic the Gathering. And if you don't like tracking the prices, you can let me do it for you. We'll discuss it here in the mornings, because from time to time, I see these price charts move, and I wonder, what do they mean? All right, what do these charts mean? That's right. We need to know. So yesterday we discussed the cup and handle, and you're going to see some of these patterns arise in the world of Magic the Gathering. We're going to talk about it here this morning. What do we got? Yesterday we talked about the cup and handle, and today we're going to talk a little bit about crossovers and moving averages. Okay, you see these charts here like this. There's another chart. What does it mean? Well, the cup and handle, like we discussed yesterday, is a bullish pattern. It means an upside break is potential, but it's very easy to look back at stock charts and understand what they mean from a looking in the rearview mirror type of perspective. But as a forward-looking person, it's always difficult to read the charts. So there's a lot of people who draw. Brody just wants to draw lines on charts, right? I just want to make an arrow going this way and an arrow like this and like this, right? That's all I want to do, is put lines on charts. But when you're looking at the movers and the shakers and you get up in the morning, there are pitfalls that can happen, and it's nothing new. It can happen to you. It's happened to me before. I've read into these charts. Sometimes there's false indications. There's some things that make the charts move that actually, shouldn't. Today, we're going to talk quickly about crossovers. It's another way to use moving averages. By plotting a 200-day and a 50-day average on a chart, and a buy signal occurs when a 50-day crosses the 100-day. What does that mean? 50-day. Well, let's just go with some basics, okay? Some very, very basics. These green and red slashes here are called candlestick, okay? Now, if you're ever reading a stock chart, each one of these dots or these slashes is a candlestick. So you need to be familiar with a little bit of these terminology. So what does a candlestick do? A candlestick, each one of these slashes, either a green one or a red one, is a representation of the moving average of that stock in a given amount of time. And stock charts can be adjustable. So you look at the live charts, like the one that's going up, the ticker that's running over my head right now. This is sort of up to the minute what the current 24-hour moving price is. So that would mean that each one of these bars, either green or red, would represent a 24-hour period. And then every 24 hours, that would start a new bar. And if it's a uptick in the price where it's been bought and the price is moving up, then the candlestick will be green. And if it's a sell or the lowering in price, then the candlestick will be red. But each one of these candlesticks, mostly on charts, if you're reading them for stocks or you're reading them for magic cards or you're reading them for cryptocurrencies or you're reading any stock chart, there should be a way, especially with investing software and if you're looking at any stock charts, to adjust the time period of which each candlestick represents. You can generally select a 1 minute chart where each candlestick represents a minute, a 5 minute chart where each candlestick represents 5 minutes. That's using like trading software. A 1 hour chart where each candlestick represents an hour, or you can get a day chart. And in this case, I think we're looking at some weekly charts. So each one of these months down below, February, March, April, May, June, July, each period in here is a month. So then if you break this down, there's how many candlesticks in there. So maybe this is like a daily. There should be 30 candlesticks in this 1 month period. And a lot of software will let you blow that up so that you can get a more real-time idea of what those candlesticks mean. So this isn't financial advice. This is just learning how to read a chart, something they don't teach you in school, right? They don't teach you how to insure a car. They don't teach you how to open a bank account. They certainly don't teach you about timeshares. They don't teach you how to get a driver's license. They don't teach you a lot of stuff in school. And this is one thing that you've kind of got to learn on your own, unless you go to like a school for nerds that all they do is talk about this stuff. So what are we talking about? We're talking about a crossover. All right. So a crossover in this particular case is when people. So the software put these moving average lines on here. So you've got these. Sometimes they're referred to as Bollinger Bands. Okay, that's another name for these lines. It's an indicative of the moving average. And then once we see a moving average crossover, so there's one crossover happening here where this is heading on a downtrend, and then the moving averages cross here, and then it comes on a downtrend, and then it tends to go up. This is a crossover on a 200-day moving average. So when we have a crossover, it will signal a buy. When the 50-day crosses the 200-day, a sell signal occurs when the 50-day drops below the 200-day. What does that mean to you? I don't really know. It means patterns, being able to spot patterns. If anyone here is a Magic the Gathering player, spotting patterns is something that we all want to do. Moving average convergence and divergence in a MACD. That's what they call the MACD, moving average convergence and divergence. And yesterday we talked about the cup and handle pattern. So each and every day we're going to talk about a little bit how to read these charts and what they mean and identify patterns, which brings us to our movers and our shakers here this morning. Good morning, Anger Collections. Nice to see you. Thanks for joining me. And we got Murray Cooper in the house, Cardboard Splendor, all Tommy Siddons, and some good old-fashioned folks who want to discuss and read articles and check the prices of Magic cards here today. What do we do on Monday? Modern Monday, Tuesday Poppy, Wednesday Pioneer. Steer clear of the ditches. Let's talk Pioneer and discuss magic and witches here. All right, what do we got here let's take a look at some charts when it pertains to Magic cards so we can have a look and see what's going on. We got Tigrid, God of Fright. This is the black one, right? It's pretty good. I think this is a flippy card. I have this card. I've opened one. Very excited to get it. It's $12.29. It's up 9%. And this is from the Kaldheim block. Now, there's a flippy card, legendary creature, Tigrid, 5 mana. I think the artifact that's on the other side of Tigrid is actually quite good. Let's take a look at it. We'll flip her over and see what she says. Legendary Tigrid's Lantern. A black and 3. Target player loses 3 life unless they sack a land or a non-land permanent or discard a card. And then pay a black and 3 to untap Tigrid's Lantern. So I'm thinking this would be good in a discard deck, especially one that makes infinite mana. And you're like, well, you need black mana, Brody. Okay, so how do we get infinite black mana? Well, there's a card from the Fallen Empire set that'll let you do that. So if you got a mana, it's called Initiates of the Ebon Hand. Here's an interesting card. It's 25 cents. You can get it from the Fallen Empire's block for just about the right price. It's a great card. It's got awesome Heather Hudson art on it, and this guy's got a black eyeball. He's black and he's got an eyeball on his chest because this is like, I've got the eyeball on my chest. Here's looking at you, folks. This reminds me a little bit of He Who Not Shall Not Be Named, perhaps, maybe. Whatever you do, don't tell the kids about margin trading. Oh, stay away from that, right? And what not to do. Yeah, margin trading. Yeah, we're going to discuss some stock chart patterns so we can get a little bit better at identifying some of these outliers in the world of Magic the Gathering. Maybe we can see some stuff coming, but over the next couple of days, we're definitely going to see some spikes in the world simply because the new spoilers have come out. There's always going to be some card synergy that work well. MacD. Okay, so the initiates of the Ebon Hand, a 1 black mana creature, a cleric. This used to be, and the reason that this card is so fond to me is because it used to be used early days by the folks who were pioneering competitive Magic, like the Mark Justice and the guys who were making the Pro Tour early when Magic was a thing. Drain Life was a win condition. Of course, that's a card that you need. Yeah, too many dumb idiots lost money on margins at 21-21. There's a lot of ways to lose money. There's plenty of ways to lose money as an honest person. And there and there's people that'll create even more ways for you to lose money. They're called brokers. And do you know why they're called brokers? Because they make you broker. That's right. They make you broker than you were before because no matter what happens, if you have a stockbroker or a broker of any kind, doesn't matter whether it's an RRSP broker or somebody from the bank who signed you up for a long-term investment portfolio where you put money in every single time, whether or not that portfolio loses money or not, they still get paid. So they are never getting brokered. Crackening. What's crackening? So Initiates of the Ebon Hand. Let's look at this card. Why am I so fond of it? Well, because if you can make infinite mana in colorless is not too hard to do. There's a few ways to do it. There's also infinite ways to make green mana, which is really good. If this guy gets punched in the stomach, it would hurt so bad, indeed. And he would probably blink, right? But look at the text on this card, okay? A colorless. So you can pay any mana into it and add black to your mana pool. So this is like a mana filter on a stick for 1 mana. With a downside, but here's the thing. Play this ability as an interrupt. Love the text. If more than 3 mana is spent on this during 1 turn, bury Initiates of the Ebon Hand. So that means if you this can fix your mana in a multicolor commander deck or in any deck. It can filter out any color and give you black. It's great. But if you get greedy and you spend more than 3, then this guy's going to die. You can do it once. If you have infinite mana, you can make infinite black mana. Okay? My bank got a 5.5% CD 3 and 7 months. It's insane. I got you, cardboard. I got you, Splendor. I can pick it up what you're putting down. So this lantern, let's see here. Want to talk win condition? You need infinite black mana to untap the Tigrid's Lantern. So if you can make infinite mana and you've got the initiative in hand, you can make infinite black, and then you can just do this again and again and again. So let's check it out. Tap, target player loses 3 life unless they sack a non-land permanent or discard a card. And then black, untap Tigrid's Lantern. So if you can make infinite black with this card, if you can make infinite mana with the initiates, you can do this over and over and over again to every single opponent unless they take their life total to 0 or discard a card or sack a non-land permanent. So then they have to sack everything, discard all their cards, and then you just keep doing it, and then they lose 3 life. Tigrid needs black mana and a black soul to play it. Very nice. Nice to see you, Murray Cooper, and nice to have you on the show. It's good to talk Magic with you. I love it. She needs a black soul to play it. You need to be dead inside to play this Menache god. 4/5, whenever an opponent sacks a non-token permanent or discards a permanent card, you may put that card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. So you can get this rare, Tigrid's Lantern, or you can get the Tigrid God of Fright. A pretty cool card. I'd like to play it in discard, and it's got Menache on her. Ho ha hoo ha hi hi ho. Hi ho, hi ho. It's off to work we go. Not just quite yet. Okay, look at the chart on this. Let's pull this back, right? So what kind of a pattern are we seeing here? Well, a very bullish pattern, right? Some ups and downs. Definitely some. May all your ups and downs be in bed. And may the wind be at your back and the sun on your face. So let's look at the latest and greatest bit of this chart here. Hit that likey button. Thank you. Frappez le bouton, as they say in French. Frappez le bouton, s'il vous plaît. Pour tout le monde en français. Frappez, frappez. Get yourself a frappe and hit that like button, please. Helps the channel grow. Would like to hit the 500 subscriber mark. It would be fantastic. All right, so Tigrid's Lantern, look at this smooth curve up in price, right? And then about early November 2023, before December, a little bit of retrace. And now this card is seeing some swing up. I opened one of these. I'm probably going to hold on to it. And this is another reason why I like to hold on to just about everything that I crack in packs until like a couple of years goes by, because there's like some sleepers. Tigrid and Dark Deal, you are an a-hole. You are the a-hole. What decks are playing Tigrid? All right, how else are we doing it? Tigrid got a fright as a commander in mono black. Ooh, that sounds spicy. Nekuz are the Mind Razor. Tiny Bones, the Trinket Thief, Lord Xander, the Collector, and Marika, Brutal Gladiator. Davros, Dalek Creator, Nagan, the Cold-Blooded, Malik, Magrim, Mutilateur, Aklotaz, the Deepest Betrayal, and Mazirek, the Call. Some of these names are just getting out of control. Hey, the big fish is here. Say good morning.
Buy low, sell high, that's my motto. I may just quit my job at the power plant and become a full-time stock market guy.
So Tigrid got a fright. Kaldheim was a set that I picked up boxes of on Overstock. So it didn't sell very well where I'm at. And I was able to pick up some cheap boxes, like a case for like $90 a box. And that's like my budget for Magic the Gathering boxes if I'm going to buy anything more. Who trades anymore? Only time I have done it in a recent history was MagicCon. Actually, Tommy, that's going to be my strategy for the first 6 months of this year. I'm not going to be doing any buy listing. I've kind of put the buy listing on hold because I'm thinking I want to save money. I want to save cash. So I'm doing some trading. I had Murray Cooper over at the place. Yeah, Kaldheim. I did say Kaldheim. I had Murray Cooper over the place and my buddy T Freezy. We come over. We did some trades. I finally got myself a Ragavan because I don't want to spend the $60 on the Ragavan. I'd rather trade for somebody who's kind of already got their Ragavans and maybe has an extra one or a play set and they're moving into Commander. So I'm sort of trading for those. I like trading for like modern staples because I always seem to get hosed on modern cards when I'm buy listing them or buying them from the card store. I can make all the foil showcase from you, from Ragavans to riches. I love it. I'm willing to buy a bulk from there. Kinnan the Bonder Prodigy. This is like the silliest looking commander you ever seen. This guy is making a lot. Trading is superior. It should set up a trade binder. Yes, I like trading because you don't pay the shipping and you can get a little more interaction with buddies. But it is tough to trade. Make sure you set it up in a decent way. This guy from Ikoria, Layer of Behemoths. I know I have some friends in a play group that are also playing this. Oh, Murray, FYI, I don't know if you're aware of this. Here's some news for you, Murray, if you're still tuning in. I told you folks on Monday that there was a little bit of an incident at the local cafe where we play. We had somebody come in off the street and sit down with the Magic players and create quite a scene. Very short of flipping tables over. We were not too sure, and of course, the cafe was under new ownership by one day, so it left kind of a bad taste in the new owner's mouth. So we got a dozen Magic card players that join there every single week just to sit down, chill out, and play some cardboard. And then, like, some passerby come by off the street and caused a big stink, slammed the door, broke the door off the hinges. It was a big mess. Actually, somebody even got it on video. I was thinking of showing the video on the stream, but it's pretty spicy. Like, it's pretty wild. So I've kind of decided not to show the video, but it was like some rage. There was like a rager. So what we've gone and done is there's a place in where we're at called the Coliseum Club. So my work has sponsored a advertising membership over there for the month, which includes 8 memberships for people who are in the play group. Now, unfortunately, all the memberships are spoken for first day, boom. But on the weekend, on Sunday, Murray, I went down to the Coliseum Club to meet the president. I just happened to be good timing. He was closing up for the day, and I said, "Hey, can you help us out? Here's what happened. We're looking for a new place to play until things calm down, and we can maybe go back and help. We'll see what we're going to do if we're going to end up going back to the cafe, but we're going to try the Coliseum Club on Saturday. So my work sponsored an advertising membership. They're going to put a label up over on their Facebook page, and if they do a radio ad, they're going to plug it. And then I got 8 memberships. I put T Freezy, myself. I have to look at the list to see. I didn't write it down, but I'll talk to the folks over at the club and see. So Saturday, if you can make it, we're going to be playing at the Coliseum Club, which is it's a private. It's not a game store. It's a club. That's sort of, we don't have a game store up here, so we have like a couple of places. There's one in the next town over, and there's one here. It's just a private, not-for-profit gaming club. Of course, they have a door policy with a buzzer, and you have to be a member to come inside. So we're going to give that a try for a month. And then those people who got the free memberships, they will possibly want to renew them. We'll see. Some folks can't spend the money on a membership. It's like $30 a month, which is, I get it. If you're on a fixed budget, then that's a little bit much, right? Or $10 for a drop in. See, that's the problem. A $10 drop in, right? We used to go to another place that was $2 drop in, and I don't mind paying the drop in, but $10 drop in if you go there 3 or 4 or 5 times a month, 6 times a month, you can get kind of pricey. So the $10 drop in was kind of a turn off for some of the folks in the group. So we figured we'd just take that out of the equation for the next month and set up a sponsorship, get 8 memberships to go around, gave those out to the play group just to get some interest. So that's the news if you haven't heard already. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to try the Coliseum Club next Saturday. Let's take a look at Kinnan, this legendary humanoid droid. Humanoid buoy. Whenever you tap a non-land permanent for mana, add 1 mana of any type that permanent produced. So your Mox Amber, any of your rocks, your Signet, your dorks, your elves, your dwarves, anything. So is there a dress code? You'll make it. I'll bring some cash. Cool. Rhode Island? Is there a dress code? I I mean, I just wear regular street clothes. They do a lot of Warhammer there, so they have big tables. I like the big tables. They got a lot of space. They've got 3 rooms: a big room, a small room, and a bonus room. So they also have a functional bathroom, which is great. And I don't know about it. I think you just have to wear clothes. Cardboard. You do have to wear some clothes. That's the downside, right? Yeah. All right. Let's take a look at Kinnan. You can pay 7 and look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may put a non-human creature card from among them onto the battlefield. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in random order. So he's a special cheated into play kind of guy, right? He's like a bit of a sneaky boy. He sneaks stuff into play as long as it's a non-human. Straight onto the battlefield for 7. Well, in a Simic deck that makes lots of mana, that shouldn't be too much of a problem. Let's take a look at the chart for Kinnan. Seeing a steady rise in price, and I think it's because of this guy has like a decent popularity in Commander. Has he got partner on him? No, but he can be a Commander because he's a legendary creature. It's taken a little bit. What do we have happening here? This is just about how this card doesn't see more play shocks me. It does see a lot of play in our group. It's too easy to go infinite. Yes, it does. It makes a lot of mana, extra mana on a stick. I just want to take a look and see, like any stock patterns, right? Look at this nice big swooping cul-de-sac. This is almost like Brody's hairline, right? This is what this looks like. It's starting to like just make a nice arc in a receding fashion, right? And yesterday we talked about the cup and handle. Speaking of cup and handle, let's grab our coffee and have a sip before this thing gets bitterly cold. So let's coupe de grace. And this even could be a little bit of a handle forming here. And of course, this is the stock pattern that we looked at yesterday. This is an indicative of a bullish trend for Kinnan. Michael Superbacker, if you go back and watch the very beginning of the stream, I have dedicated this stream to you, my man. I started a half an hour later just so you could catch up with the folks here on the channel. It's very nice to see you. I'm glad you could make it. Thank you so much. Another perfect human, another fine human being who is Michael Superbacker, the bonded prodigy. Michael Super Prodigy, right? All right, all you fine, fantastic humans, let's talk stocks, let's talk shop, let's talk magic cards, and let's talk cardboard. Kinnan bonded prodigy himself as a commander. Sisay. All right, so let's take a look at these 5 color commanders. You know what I want to build? I want to build the red one that has the 5 colors. It's like the counterpart to Sisay. This one, Sisay, whether like Captain, she's white, but she's got all the pips on her. 4-color Rona combo, Kenrith the Return King. A lot of the multi-color commander decks are playing Kinnan. Soul of the Elements, Kethis combo, Golrak the Omnor, Dragon Claw, and the like. Sorry it took me so long to get back to the gravy train. All the viewers watching. Thanks, Michael. You're a jewel. You are too kind. I missed you, man. I missed you. Every time I see the comments, like, Michael. Sorry, buddy. To all the folks in Boston, I wish you a lot of prosperity here in the new year. I have yet to get to Boston. We're second from the top. We're just dirtling along at the pioneer movers and the shakers here today. Not a huge tick up in price, but as we say, there's probably going to be some price spike coming with these new spoilers that we're going to get into here for you shortly. And what do we got here? Dragon Lord Dromoka. Dromoka? Am I saying it right? I don't know. Elder Dragon Selesnya, white, green, and 4. The legendary creature Elder Dragon. Dragon Lord Dromok can't be countered. Flying Lifelink. Your opponents can't cast spells during your turn. It's an Arbiter. It's mythic. And it says you can't do shenanigans on my turn. Stop, collaborate, and listen. Dragon Lord is back and he's wishing you can't cast spells on my turn, even if you're a red player and you play Burn. All right, this thing is got a look at this chart. Hey, this is a stinky pickup, right? How expensive was this back in the day? $40? This is a $40 card, not even 2 years ago. maybe 2.5, maybe how the time flies. That's just after Modern Horizons 2 come out. It was $40. Perhaps people liked it. This might be a pickup if you're looking to get it now. Thing is like kind of sucking hind wind off the bottom here. Very, very swooping and looping this card is. Coming up just maybe a little bit of an uptick here. It's way, way back off its all-time highs and going back all the way to Cons of Tarkir or Dragons of Tarkir. Look at how many times this card has taken a tick up in price. A couple of times here. 2017, it's seen some popularity. The Don't Touch This Dragon. Can't touch it. Can't cast spells. No. And then we took up a bump up just around Ixalan. And then Kaldheim, this thing saw some popularity. And then now it's just kind of ticked down in price. And it's just sort of moving east to west here. Not like a long time. This is not like a long time hold, right? It might be now to pick it up. Decks using it, Amulet Titan. Amulet Titan's playing it in Modern? Why? Just because you don't want people to play during your turn? Probably. Combo, Quintorius Quand is playing it, Hidden Strings. What else we got? Azorius Lotus Field, Tiamat, Asika God of the Tree, mostly Commander decks, one Pioneer deck. Let's take a look at the Pioneer deck. Azorius Lotus Field. Since we're on Wednesday and we're discussing Pioneer, I want to take a look at a deck here. Lotus Field? I think this is the one that makes like all kinds of mana with Lotus Bloom, right? Is it Lotus Field? Lotus Field. Yeah. So what do we got? The Stitch Proctor, the Proctologist here. What a card, right? Why I don't know why, but there's just too many jokes that can be made with the Proctor. All right, the Spirit Cleric, Proctologam, strict. This is a strict Proctor. Like this guy's got some stiff fingers. Oh my goodness! Flying whenever a permanent enters the battlefield causes a triggered ability to trigger. Counter that ability unless it pays 2. Very strict. Oh my gosh. This proctor is not gonna be unprocting unless you pay. He's like, you gotta pay for the visit, and then you gotta pay for me to unvisit, right? Dream Trawler, this is a card that saw so much play in Arena, man. This thing was making itself huge. Flying Lifelink 3/5, whenever you draw a card, it gets a 1/0 until end of turn, and if it attacks, you draw a card. You can pitch a card to gain hexproof until end of turn and tap it. So this thing's really, really good. I've seen this on Arena go as high as like 10 or 12 power. It's flying, it gains you life. It's definitely a card that will make the games go long and get you back in the game. All right, Wandering Emperor, wandering around. This Emperor cannot seem to find its way. And then Teferi, the big Teferi, March of the Older Worldly Light. Get Lost. Get lost here, Twiddler. How good is this guy, right? Destroy target creature, enchantment, or planeswalker's controller creates 2 map tokens. I can't remember the map tokens do. That's new. And then Impulse. So Memory Deluge, Jawari Distortion, bunch of counter spells, Supreme Verdict, which is the ward wipe, discontinuity, farewell. But the card that is the namesake card is the Lotus Field, right? This one here. Hexproof comes in the battlefield tab. When it enters the battlefield, sack 2 lands and then add 3 mana of any color. Is this going to play the amulet in it? That would be an improvement. I'd love it. Packs for everybody. We're going to put everybody on a universal pack cracking income. That's right. Every Canadian once a month gets a box of Magic cards to open, right? That'll be our universal basic income. Castle Ardenvale, Castle Vantress, the combo deck, the Lotus Field and Pioneer, playing the Dragonlord Dromka. Lithoform Engine. I thought this card was going to be more expensive. I really like this card. It's $7. I thought when I played it in limited, I think I got this in my Zendikar Rising pre-release deck. The legendary copy spell. This thing is kind of hard to use. You need a lot of mana to use it. Cost you 6 to copy an activated ability or a trigger ability. So you got to pay 4 to cast it, and then 2 to activate it, and then it's like 7 to copy an instant. By the time you activate this thing, in my experience, you're already so heavily invested into this sucker that it's hardly worth the payoff. I think there's a lot of other better copy spells that can be used rather than the Lithiform engine, because like if you're copying a creature, you're 8 mana deep into this thing. But nevertheless, it's seeing a tick up in price here on the list this morning. I mean, personally, I'm not a fan. I tried run, and I don't mean it because like I just don't like the card. I tried running it really hard. I did. It was $30. I had opened it, and now it's just kind of come down in price, swooping and drooping and kalamazooping, if that's a word. And it's done nothing but like lose price strength over the last 4 years since it was printed. It's done nothing but go east to west and on a downward trajectory. There's nothing exciting about this chart. I mean, the simple fact that it took a little bit of a bump up in price maybe means that it just hit bottom and it's kind of bouncing around. Unless something, uh, I mean, here's the thing. I tried putting a power artifact on this to make it cheaper to activate. I tried a lot of ways to try and make this thing work. It's just too much mana to get. You have to double. If you're gonna double spell, you have to spell, and then you have to have like mana up to copy it. So you gotta have like 7 mana and then some to double spell and copy with. It's really so you're like nine mana you're 9 mana deep to copy a 2 mana spell. It's really hard to use. Mishra, the Eminent One, I guess if you're going to be copying some creatures, mostly Commander is probably where this is going to be played. Yeah, all Commander decks that are playing it, not too, not too pretty bad. I do like the fact that it's like playable in Commander, but probably more casual Commander. You're not going to see this in CEDH, which I've been getting into a little bit lately. All right, let's take a look at the next card on our list here this morning. Lithiform Monastery Mentor. Oh, I love this card. $5. Can you believe how cheap this card is? Murray, okay, so just at the other day, last Saturday, when I was playing cards with Murray Cooper, somebody had a smokestack on the battlefield. Give me a second, I gotta sneeze. So let's take a look at a card like this, Smokestack. This was the game state when we were playing just last week. So if you're going to play the Monastery Mentor, I did not realize how darn good this card is with Smokestack. Okay. So player one's got, Jean's got a Smokestack on the battlefield and it's ticking up to 3. Okay. So for 4 mana, this stacks piece from Urza's block. And let's just take a look. Is there a foil version of it? I don't think so. No. There's a $5 card. Smokestack, pretty darn good card. Stacks piece, it actually goes around and it pretty much puts the board down to like nothing. 4 mana put a soot counter on Smokestack during your upkeep. During each player's upkeep, that player sacrifices a permanent for each soot counter on Smokestack. So like that can include lands. So if this thing ticks up enough, people are going to be sacking permanents, lands, and everything. So if you're behind on board and you can't get permanents out, this Smokestack is really devastating. So the first turn it goes around, everybody sacks 1 permanent. Second time around, everybody sacks 2 permanents. Third time, 3, and so forth. So with a card like this, Murray's got this Monastery Mentor on it, and look at the prowess trigger. This card used to be really expensive, especially in foil, and I think I actually picked up a couple of foil copies years ago. The foil copy is, where are we? Fate Reforged foil, $7. This used to be $50. Oh, it's so sad. Seen her devastated by reprints here. The Fate Reforged, yeah. How high was this thing? This was a legacy staple. It was $100. Oh, this is so sad. And I love the card so much I couldn't bring myself to sell it. I'm like, it's good, it's good. But look at the chart on this. It went from $60 at release all the way down to 40, then to 80. Then for 2 or 3 years, it went down $25 and it was still holding strong. And now it's just been like sucking hind wind and done nothing but go down in price to the point where the Fate Reforged original foils are actually $7. Super cheap. I would say this is a card you could pick up for cheap in foil. Original OG Fate Reforged foil for $7-8. When you combine this with a hey, Hillbilly's here. Nice to see you, buddy. Thanks for joining. You combine this Monastery Mentor with the Smokestack, now you're starting to happen. So prowess, whenever you cast a non-creature spell, this creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn. And when you cast a non-creature spell, you get a 1/1 white monk human creature with prowess. So this is played in a Xerox deck, Legacy Xerox. They call it Xerox because it makes copies of the 1/1s. This is a win condition on a stick, and the monks have prowess, so they get bigger every single time you catch a non-creature spell. And then like with the smokestack on the board, as long as you can keep non-creature spelling, you're going to get more monks. You're going to have stuff to feed to your little old smokestack. And even if you run a pyromancer, this with pyromancer makes the little tokens. So lots of tokens for this. Where's it getting played? Commander, Standard, Commander, Modern, Standard. I don't see the Xerox deck seeing here playing it, but it's definitely a card that sees play in multiple formats, and it was even Legacy playable at some time. $5. Ugh, that's so sad to see. Chromatic Orrery. $6. $26? The Orrery, the 7 mana artifact. You may spend mana as though it was mana of any color, and this taps for 5. Got a rebate on it. 5 and draw a card for each permanent, or each color of permanence you control. So this thing fixes your mana. Basically, all mana is good mana. I like it. The Orrery. Orrery. It's kind of, say it with me. Orrery. Kind of hard to say. Mythic, I don't know that I have an Orrery. I don't think I have one. But I know Mike the Alpha Hoarder actually has a real Orrery. It's kind of neat. And if you've ever watched like The Dark Crystal, or you've watched like Willow, or a few of those other interesting older shows, they'd always have these like big orreries in them where they're like a bunch of planets moving around. Orreries were used to describe like the motion of the stars and planets and stuff. This card seemingly strong, very stable. Hasn't really hit a low since it was printed. Just about $10, and it does nothing but go up. And even with the Brothers War, it's still going sideways. This thing seems pretty good. Good morning, hillbillies. All you folks, you billies and hillbillies out there tuning in. I love to see you here talking shop. What else we got on the list this morning? Temporal Trespass. You know, we talked about this card yesterday. It's got the Delve mechanic. It's an extra turn card. So it's very popular. It's on the Pioneer list because it's Pioneer legal. It's a card that definitely takes you an extra turn. There's at least 8 different extra turn spells that I can think of. Time Walk, Time Warp, Part the Water Veil, Walk the Aeons, Temporal Trespass, Temporal Mastery, Final Fortune, Last Chance. There's plenty of ways to take an extra turn in Magic now, not just the Time Walk. So this card, we discussed it yesterday. It's $14. It's pretty darn decently good. Authority of the Consuls, another card that I think we saw on the list yesterday. This was something that I opened lots of in Kaladesh. And Anointed Procession was another card that we were looking at yesterday that long-term, very good. This one in foil is actually quite expensive. I think I kept a foil copy. I had too many copies of it. $20. The pre-release foil is $20, and the Kaladesh foil is $17. This thing has just been steady since it came out. Look at the price trend on this one. Brody just wants to put lines on charts. Woozoom. Just steady and this thing will probably go ahead and keep climbing until it sees a reprint. At some point in time, it's going to get a reprint. And then we might see a price retrace, but the OG foils, especially those promos, definitely going to stick around. Now, let's have a look here. What's playing it? All Commander decks. I know we're talking Pioneer, but it's like the Commander format is just so popular. These cards seem to put... Authority is just casual gold. That's right. This comment from Merch by Powell is gold. Nice to see you. First time getting to see you here, Merch. Thank you for tuning in. The authority is very good for 1 mana. It's like a stack speed, right? It's so good. Creatures your opponents control enter the battlefield tapped, and whenever a creature enters the battlefield under an opponent's control, you gain a life. So it's like, in life gain deck, this thing can do some work. It's actually quite good. 1 mana, turn 1 authority, not too bad. Shuts down people that are, playing those hasty boys like the Monastery Swift Spear. Oh, I hate the Swift Spear. I've been killed by that thing so many bloody times. Cryptolith Right. This thing's $14. A green and 1 enchantment card. Creatures you control have tap, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. Actually, a decent card. I didn't open any and I didn't play anything of Shadows over Innistrad, but I remember people saying this set was super good. Shadows over Innistrad and Eldritch Moon, just a great block. And this is a card that maybe just slipped under my radar because I never really played it. So nice to see that if you're going wide, I mean, this thing can ramp you. I'm sure it can. What's the price looking like on this card like this? And the foil version, kind of wonder what that's sitting at. This thing, I would say this probably has a good premium on it. $22 for the Cryptolith Right. Not so premium, but nevertheless pretty good. It's not a bad card, especially if you got dorks out there or you want to turn your guys into dorks. If you're going wide, you're making tokens, maybe with a Monastery Mentor, this thing will actually get some decent value out of it. Authority of the Console is my first pre-release. Very nice. I like it. Nice to see that. Kaladesh was fun, wasn't it? Very, very fun. Dex playing this, all Commander again. Chatterfang. Shout out to Mr. DJ Long. Be a round table probably tomorrow night. Oh, on Thursday nights. That's when the round table comes. The man loves squirrels more than anything. Chatterfang the Squirrel playing Urtet. I'm thinking Mirror Tokens could probably play it. Kunema the Tyrant of Orazka. Zizurus the Withering Storm. Myco Tyrant. Lathril the Blade of Elves. Elves, yeah, you want to make mana with the elves. That checks out. Hapatra Vizier of Poison, so the snaky poisony guys. Rin and Seri. Slivers, yeah. There's just all kinds of places you can play this card. It's really actually quite good. I'm surprised I haven't seen people play it before. I like it. Decent card in the last one here, Rogue's Class. Saga. Nice to see a Saga. The Baba La Saga, the Baba Yaga. Tuning in from the Adventurers of Forgotten Realms of Rogue Class. This is the Demir Enchant Saga. No, it's a level up. It's an enchant. All right, this one says whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, exile the top card of that player's library face down, and you may look at it as long as it remains exiled. Level 2, creatures you control have Menache. Level 3, you may play cards from exiled with Rogue Class, and you may spend mana as though any couleur to play it. This rare. What are we looking at for the foil version? Foil version, 250. 250? What are we? 230, 240, 250. Who now? Can we get $1? Can I get $1 now? Can I get $1.50, please? Can I get a $3 Can I get a $4 more? That's the current bidder now. Bid it up now. Can I get a bidder now? Bid it in the house. All right, this thing seems a bit of a tick up. Price, this thing seems some popularity. It's an all-time high for this card. It's never been more expensive for this cheap pickup. Maybe it's going to see some long-term price stability. This is going to be, if it's a commander card, where are we playing it? I want to see where we're playing this. Anawan the Rune Thief, Tasha the Witch Queen, Satora the Mizawa, Don Andreas the Renegade, Umbris the Fear Manifester, and Centera the Toy Maker. Talion the Kindly Lord, Obaya Dreaming Duelist, and Zutu, Eternal Schemer, Ramos, the Dragon Engine. Lots of decks playing it. The Rogue Class. I don't play it, but say it with me, folks. Do you like tracking the prices of Magic cards? Are you a Magic the Gathering player who likes to buy cards online? Is there enough information out there, or is there just too much darn information? Let me do it for you, folks. I'm tracking these Magic card prices each and every day here on the morning show with you folks. I got this has been a great show, but it's not over yet. I got one more article for you folks to enjoy here this morning while you make your way in the world. Before I head off to work, yes, I am the working man for the working man, doing the best that I can to get you started on your day with a little bit of Magic Shop Talk some articles, some movers, some shakers, some price tracking, because I need to wake up and know what cards are moving. There's definitely going to be some price shakeup in the world every time new sets come out. If there's some good synergy, that's just the tell of the tale. If it's like some good synergy, if we get some like reserve list action with the new set that comes out, that would be great. I would really like that. So let's take a look at one more article before we go here. Let's check this out. MTG's new list hides exciting reprints and arena addition. If you're wishing to have some additions, for better or worse, Murders at the Karlov Manor is changing a whole world of things, and it's all thanks to the introduction of play boosters replacing both draft and set boosters. Much to the delight of fans, one of the biggest changes is happening in the list. Rather than being a bloated assortment of reprints from old to new, the set booster feature is being dramatically cut down, slashed from 300 cards down to just 50. The list is now a refined collection of reprints. Oh, a refined collection of a fine collection of fine reprints found in play boosters. The list cards are legal in draft should you find one. If that wasn't enough, a shakeup already, the introduction of play boosters means that the list is coming to MTG Arena, delivering new reprints to the game with each Magic the Gathering set. The feature could be a massive boon. That will be the case, at least, provided Wizards doesn't change things around too much. While this is disheartening and a possibility, there's a good news for the Murders at Karlov Manors. I want to, there's got to be an either M. Macam. I'll kind of call it Macam. I called Phyrexia all will be one Pabo, so I'm going to call this Macam. Macam. If you can't crack them, you can pack them. Crack and pack some Macam. All right. Not only is MTG Arena getting some surprise, much needed reprints, but the special guests are coming too. This new subset of cards features new art, stunning flavor, value galore. Once again, exciting fans. To put it lightly, the list is looking absolutely spectacular for the Macam set. Ranger Captain of Eos. This was an interesting card from the Modern Horizon set. Something that was kind of expensive and I didn't have it. Human Soldier 3/3. Whenever Captain of Eos enters the battlefield, you get to search for a creature card with converted mana cost 1 or less, reveal it, put it in your hand, then shuffle, sack Ranger of Eos. Opponents can't cast non-creature spells this turn. I love seeing somebody riding a lion. Anytime you're riding a lion, your day is looking up. If you're getting eaten by the lion, your day is not so good. Following swiftly on Macam's debut livestream, Wizards was revealed the latest version of the list. Thankfully, this list isn't nearly as daunting as before, thanks to being significantly cut down. That being said, however, there is still an awful lot to cover thanks to the scale of the changes. As expected from Wizards' initial announcement, a lot of the chaff from the list is mercifully being cut. While this sounds like good news, Wizards hasn't. You ever get a set booster and you just get some junky list card? You're like, oh, I got this, I got that, I got it, and my list card is meow. Right? At least make the list cards good, right? Well, that sounds too good to be true. Wizards have left all the best bombs alone as they've been cut too, replacing these cards. The list is now full of Ravnica and murder themed mystery themed prints. Since the cards on the list can be found with play boosters, this flavor is moving in an undeniably positive direction. The question remains, however, how is the list value going to be looking after being struck down in size? Thank you, Wizards. Possibly still pretty good. The top end of the tier list, we've got Ranger of Eos at $32. Having never been reprinted, this is a variant that could godsend to bring the price down. Taking a large step down, Mass Hysteria, Worldspine Worm. Here's another card. This card is definitely this card won a championship with Reed Duke. So this is a card that saw a big tick up in price over the last year. Towards the tail end of last year, this thing definitely saw a tick up in price because Reed Duke was playing it in a Pioneer and won a championship. And below this, there's only a few cards like Molten Psyche that are worth $5, and prices are set to plummet. Ultimately, only a handful of cards are capable of paying for a pack, so there's no shortage of draft chaff. But while this may seem rather dire, it's worth remembering that the list is considerably smaller. As a result, the lack of bombs may seem disappointing, but there's still a good percentage of them at current prices. 15% of the list cards are worth around the $5 mark. Special guests are spectacular. So these are all cards. Ghostly Prison. Oh, with different art. Fabricate. Show and Tell. Getting a reprint. Tragic Slip. Victimize. Field of the Dead. Okay, we're getting a new art on Field of the Dead. Drown in Lock. Tireless Tracker. The Tracker. That was a good card in Landfall, and it was expensive in its day. Crashing Footfalls. Okay, the Rhino card, but that deck has kind of been nutted and gutted since the banning of Beanstalk. But nevertheless, if you ever wanted to play Footfalls, you can play the Rhinos card with this spendability. Gamble, another printing of Gamble. So these are some spice. Legacy card, a tutor card, a good commander card. But to date, we have only seen 28 special guests. However, there's no denying how good the deck they look. With this true for the Lost Caverns of Ixalan, and it's certainly true for Macam. With each card playing into the set's aesthetic themes, these cards are utter joy to behold. On their own, this detail is sure to make these cards desirable, especially since many of them see consistent play for like Gamble and Fabricate and Crashing Footfalls. For better or for worse, the new special guest looks utterly gorgeous. Unfortunately, they're not all super expensive. The majority of the special guests aren't even worth $5. However, there's some exceptions. They're typically selling for $21 each. Show and Tell, a card that I don't own. It would be nice to get a copy of it so I could play it in Legacy. And Field of the Dead are true value bombs. While reprints of these cards, good morning, Dual Brain. Nice to see you, Ed. Thanks for stopping in. My favorite Magic the Gathering streamer, YouTuber, patron over there. I'm going to do some box. LOL, never mind. He's still going. That's right. We're going long. We're going deep today. I tell you, deep into the brain. We're going deep today. Good morning, beautiful humans. While these cards may be what many players are hunting for as reprints, these cards may be rather naff. As special guests, these cards are going to appear within 1.5 of Macam play boosters. Should all things be created equal, this means there's a 0.078 chance of finding any specific card. Technically, since countless Macam play boosters should be open, these reprints could still work. Chances are, however, the past precedent will continue. Looking back at the special guests from Lost Caverns of Ixalan barely moved the average pricing needle. In fact, the new variants of these cards are actually more expensive in most cases, and ultimately, while special guests may not be the best reprints in Magic the Gathering, there's no denying that they're a great addition to the list, and hopefully every set's cards can continue to impress. MTG Arena gets it all. The Smuggler's Copter. Almost. Okay, as mentioned, for the first time, the list is coming to Arena, delivering a bounty of new reprints. It's still not going to get me to play on Arena. No way. Not doing it. But there's definitely a lot more for players in Arena to look forward to. Unfortunately, however, not only every card is going to be new to Arena, but some cards are being swapped out, which means the Macam Limited isn't exactly one-to-one Arena and paper. While the digital discrepancy is a concern, the list for Macam still brings a lot of good on the list itself. 17 out of the 40 reprints are brand new additions to Arena, and for the most part, these won't see play. However, there are some great cards in there for all players. Should be delighted to see Monologue Tax. What's the Monologue Tax? Brody's monologuing this morning, taxing your ability to stay tuned in for a period of time. Alongside with his commander favorite, Mass Hysteria, Coldota Rebirth, and Ixalan Superiority are great additions. As interesting as these cards are, they're nothing compared to the real prize that Draws Magic Arena is getting. Bizarrely, Arena is unexpectedly getting a major Pioneer staple. Thanks for the opportunity this list provides on Magic Arena. 3 cards are being swapped out rather than getting the Death Cloud and needless reprints. Arena players are getting 3 brand new cards. Within this trio is the hugely requested addition of Smuggler's Chopper. Following the recent bans in Pioneer, the popularity of Smuggler's Chopper has absolutely exploded. In fact, that now that Smuggler's Chopper is used in format's second most popular and powerful deck, since Explorer is meant to be parallel to Pioneer, the omission of this card was quite a glaring fault. Thankfully, that's now been fixed. Monologue Tax This is like a Smothering Tide type art. For a white and 2, you get the enchantment that says whenever an opponent casts their second spell each turn, you create a treasure. On the second spell. So, like, this with Smothering Tides, does this seem busted? All right, for most players on Arena and paper players, a list of murders at Karlov Manor seriously looks strong. However, this trend will continue long into the future when the list is providing plenty of fun, flavor, and value. Hopefully, the list can be an alternative to future anthology sets. That might be wishful thinking, but at the end of the day, it's important to remember that the list is part of the play boosters now, and as a result, Wizards of the Coast will have to balance that with the list's ability around this. The refined version of the list is meant to be more flavorful with the fewer random and unexplained inclusions. For better or for worse, due to this, players might have their hopes and dreams come true. I hope to have my hopes and dreams come true. That's why I'm here. I'm here into the magic. I'm here at the gathering. My hopes and dreams must come true. And I hope yours do too. Even with this in mind, it seems that the list is a great addition to play boosters. Whether or not these see supplemental cards that will be playing nice, however, remains to be seen. That we're just going to have to wait for the set's official launch, which isn't until February. Right? February? Where's this rue everybody's talking about? I thought it was February, but February. Get the rue in your stew with some February. What's new? We're live streaming in the morning. We're telling jokes and we're hanging out with folks. What do lawyers wear to work? Are you a lawyer and you're on the way to work? What do lawyers wear to work anyway? Lawsuits. That's right. That's what they wear to work. What would a restaurant on the moon be like? Probably without any atmosphere at all. But never the fear. Brody is near. Here on the morning show, do you like talking stocks, magic shop, looking at charts, seeing what's moving and what's shaking, knowing what's going on in the world of Magic the Gathering? Is there enough information out there, or is there just too much darn information? Let me do it for you. I'm doing it here on the morning show with the brain, the hillbilly, Michael Superbacker, Twiddler Murray Cooper, Tommy Siddons, the Cardboard Splendor, Big Fish Games, Anger Collections. We've got Super Crackening Games in the house. What's cracking in all you folks? Kylan Perdon, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate each and every one of you. Fantastic human beings for showing some support here on the channel. It's nice to be back. It's good to have you with me. And let's hit that subscribe button because it lets the folks know that the channel should grow. And that's what we need to do. What do you call a priest that becomes a lawyer? Well, that's a father-in-law, I guess. And don't buy things that have Velcro on them. It's a real ripoff. We'll chat you guys tomorrow. May the sun be on your face and the wind at your back. Grab a pack and crack that on your snack break today at work. I got to head out. I got things to do. The working man for the working man here for you to discuss Magic the Gathering tunes. Let's let Ron Burgundy put us into that sweet, sweet jazz flute outro that we get every single morning.